do it one more time. Don't leave me, baby. Don't leave me, baby. Don't leave me crying, girl. Don't leave me crying, girl. A lot of times she feels sorry, you know. She said the same things back to me I said to her.
Hello. I would love to start by thanking all of you sitting here who've come here to support the musician and the venue, and all of you sitting at home who've bought the live streaming tickets. Thank you kindly. Please keep up the good work. I also want to, welcome Deborah Holland to Sunshine Coast, to Seashore, and to Hybrid Dreams. It is our pleasure to have you here. I won't keep this long, but our next show is David Gogo. He's coming back for an acoustic night, and personally, I love his acoustic night much more than the band. And I'm looking forward to it. It's January 15th. For now, we move on to Deborah Holland because it's her night, and let her take over the show.
Thanks, Vineet. All right, well, I know 90% of you that are here. It's like maybe 4 people I don't know by their first name. And then I've got, just so that you know, there's an audience watching from all over. I don't know if anyone's from out of the U.S., but there's lots of people in the U.S. and people in Vancouver who couldn't make it over here. So here's what's going to happen tonight. It's a little different than any concert I've ever done before. I'm going to do 2 sets. The first one's on guitar, then we'll take a break, and then the second one I'm going to move to piano. And what I'm doing is it's a retrospective of my recorded career. So starting with my first album all the way up to the newest. So that's what's going to happen. And I'll be talking quite a bit also, telling little stories about the songs and my life and all kinds of other either interesting or uninteresting factoids, depending upon your point of view. So I'm going to start the first song. So just to give you a place, I originally am American. Now I'm a dual citizen, happily, living in Canada. I've been here since 2010. I became a citizen in 2018. But going back, 1987, and looking around, I know everyone in this room was alive then, so you can probably place yourself in 1987. I had been living in LA for 10 years, trying to get a record deal. I had moved there from New Jersey, New York area, trying to get a record deal or a publishing deal, and zippo, nothing happened. And one day I just said, that's it, I'm done. I'm done trying. I'm sick of this, and I'm just going to go back to writing songs for myself and not worry about anything else. And I sat down, and I wrote this song that I'm about to play for you in about 20 minutes. It just kind of zoom came out of me. And 2 years later, I was singing this song on the David Letterman show. There's a spy in the house of love, and he knows what I'm thinking of. He's making friends in places high above. In the house of love, in the house of love. I had dreams, they've been laid to waste. I lost the time, and I lost the taste. I need him now to house of love, in the house of love. Someday I'll find out who it is, and when I do, he'll probably go. And the message can only be his. Whatever it says, I need to know. There's a spy, he's in every room, has no name, only a nom de plume. It's hard to rise above the sense of doom in the house of love, in the house of love. Someday I'll find out who it is, and when I do, he'll probably go. And the message can only be his. Whatever it says, I need to know. He's got a reason that he's following me, and while we're on this crazy ride, can't take the answer, it was meant to be. Maybe that's why he's still at my side. I will wait in the house of love until I'm sure what I'm thinking of. And when I do, some angel up above will come on home to the house of love. Someday I'll find out who it is, and when I do, he'll probably go. And the message can only be his. Whatever it says, I need to know. There's a spy in the house of love, in the house of love, in the house of love, in the house of love. La la la. And tonight we are in a house of love. High Beam Dreams, House of Love. Thank you. So, I've been practicing for this show for like 3.5 months or something, and I've been practicing this solo in this song, and I just totally effed it up. So, let me see if I can do it right. Forget it, doesn't matter. Something like that. It's like I was telling someone, no matter how much you rehearse as a performer, it's never the same when you get in front of the audience. It's like it's the first time in front of the audience. And a lot of these songs I haven't played in 20, 30 years. Some of them I've never played before, like the next one I'm going to do. So that first song ended up on I had a band. I got in a band called Animal Logic. And Animal Logic was Stuart Copeland, the drummer from The Police, and Stanley Clarke, world-famous jazz bass player, and me. And it was all my songs. They were looking for a female singer, songwriter. This was after the Police had broke up, and they didn't want any comparisons to Sting, so they wanted a woman. And I'm about as different from Sting as you can possibly be. So we recorded 2 albums, and the albums don't have any name. So we just call them Animal Logic 1 and Animal Logic 2. And 1 has the 3 Dalmatian dogs on it, and 2 has the 3 polar bears on it. And that's the only way you tell the difference. So the first album, I had pretty much written all the songs, and I had written them on guitar and or piano. But the second album were all new songs, and a lot of them were co-written, and even the ones that weren't were written using music sequencing programs, so they weren't easily played. They're not easily played on a guitar or piano. And I was just going to skip the second Animal Logic album altogether because it's hard, but just in case I have any Animal Logic fans that are watching, there are probably a few, maybe 3 or 4. And a lot of people, they like the second one better, so I said, all right, I gotta figure out a way to do a couple songs from that record too. So this is from Animal Logic 2, and it's called If I Could Do It Over Again. And the other thing that's been weird about preparing for this show is, like, If I Could Do It Over Again, so I must have written that in 1989 or 1990, and I could have written it yesterday. It's like I haven't changed very much at all.
To do it
if you like the Animalogic songs, you'll go and listen to the Animalogic recording because the musicians that played on them, they're quite amazing. Okay, so 2 albums with Animalogic, and then the band broke up. That's a long story. Nothing bad, just typical stuff. And I got ready to make my first solo album, which I was really excited to do. And that record is called Freudian Slip. And it came out when I had my first child. My older son was born, and the cover is me pregnant, which some people liked and some people, the record company didn't like it. They weren't too happy with it, but whatever. So this song I wrote on bass guitar. It was the first song I ever wrote on bass, and maybe the only song I've ever written on bass, come to think of it. And I have no idea what gave me the chutzpah to do this, but I went in the studio and tracked it with Stuart Copeland. So Stuart Copeland on drums, me on bass. I mean, I don't even play bass. I have no idea how I got to do that. So this is a song, it's called My Favorite Joe, and it's really about letting go of bad boys. I know there's some women in here who will relate to that. So no more bad boys, and it's a love song in its own weird way. So again, I had to take a song that I wrote on bass and now figure out how to play it on guitar. So hopefully I'll make it through this one. Well, I know I'll make it through. That's not. One had a 2-inch scar on the left side of his face. Somebody hit him with a sharp metal object that no one could place. And I would stare at that line like it was the road to heaven, until he said he'd be right back. I'm just going out to the 7-Eleven. He wore it like a medal of honor, like the red badge of courage. How could I know that you would be my favorite Joe? Another bought me a car. It was a good deal from a friend. It was nothing very fancy, just a plain old American on which you could depend. I barely hit the streets, things started to break down, until that trustworthy vehicle took every penny that I could scrounge. Nothing comes for free, but you never look a gift horse in the mouth. How could I know that you would be my favorite Joe? Hard to get used to, hard to accept the fact. Not even the weight on my shoulders has been left intact. Oh, how could I know? How could I know Thank you. I forgot to ask the streaming audience if the sound is okay. Any complaints? They're saying it's okay? All right. Love you all out there in streaming land. Okay, so released my first solo album. And right after the record came out, the record company went bankrupt. So there goes my first solo album. And that was it for me. I was done. I had a newborn baby, and I said, I'm getting out of the music business. I am done. And I'm going to do something that has nothing to do with music. So I thought, well, what could I do? And the first thing I realized was I don't type. And so this is now 95. And yeah, I never wanted something to fall back on, so I never learned how to type. I'm a very fast two-finger. So I bought this program, Mavis Beacon. Have you ever heard of it? Mavis Beacon Learn to Type. I lasted maybe, 3 days doing it. I said, this is not going to happen. So I did what people usually do when they don't know what to do in their life, which is, anybody know? What do you do when you're at a crossroads, you don't know what to do? Other than drink. You go back to school. You go back to school when you don't know what you want to do. So that's what I did. I went back and I got my master's degree in music. And when it came time to do my thesis, they gave me a choice. I could write a big, giant, 150-page thesis, or I could do some kind of a music project and write just a short project report about it. So, of course, that's what I chose. And I had always been interested in songs from the Depression, not my own depression, but the Great Depression. And so I spent some time researching and came up with like 10 songs and went into a studio, and for $200, I kid you not, $200, I recorded these 10 songs that was just going to be for my master's thesis, all written during the Depression era. And that's really all it was going to be. I wasn't thinking, sorry, I forgot to say the reason it was only $200. All it was bass and percussion and vocals. So no instruments. We just went in and kind of just winged it, did a live thing. And yes, that was my master's thesis, but then it took a very strange turn. And my friend Richard Goldman, who's a singer-songwriter, he was on a little label out of Vermont called Gadfly Records. And he gave it to them, and they said, can we release it? And I said, oh, okay, sure. I had no plans of it, but I thought, okay, it'd be nice if it gets pressed into a nice CD and has some artwork. And that led me into the world of folk music, which I knew nothing about. Clubs, radio stations, radio shows, conferences, like-minded people. So that brought me into that whole world. So I'm going to do a song from that. This is called How Can a Poor Man Stand Such Times and Live, written by blind Alfred Reed. Which I noticed recently Bruce Springsteen recorded. I did it before him, though, I want to say. Okay. There once was a time when everything was cheap. Now prices nearly puts a man to sleep. When we pay our grocery bill, we just feel like making our will. Tell me, how can a poor man stand such times and live? I remember when dry goods was cheap as dirt. You could take 2 bits and buy a fancy shirt. Now it takes $3 or more. Maybe get a shirt that another man wore. Tell me, how Most old preachers preach for gold and not for souls. That's what keeps a poor man always in the hole. We can hardly catch our breath, taxed and schooled and preached to death. Tell me, how can a poor man stand such times and live? Well, the doctor comes around with his face all bright, and he says, in a little while you're gonna be alright. All he gives is a humbug pill, a dose of dope, and a great big bill. Tell me, how can a poor man stand such times and live? Now it's time for every man to be awake. We pay 50 cents a pound when we ask for steak. When we get our package home, a little wad of paper with gristle and bone. Tell me, how can a poor man stand such times and live? Tell me, how can a poor man stand such times and live? Tell me, how can a poor man stand such times and live? Such times and live. Thank you. When I go to piano, I'll be repeating the same sequence of albums, so you get to hear one more Depression era song. The next record is did I say what the last? No, I didn't tell you what that was called. It's called The Panic Is On, Songs from the Great Depression. In academia, you always have to have a colon. So it's The Panic Is On, colon, Songs from the Great Depression. That's how they do it there. The next record I made was 1999, and it's called The Book of Survival. And it's my favorite sounding record because it's the last record I made on 2-inch analog tape, which to me still sounds best. Just does. I made this record with, again, a very small crew. My good friend Rick Krisman was the engineer and producer and played some keyboards, and had just a bass player and a percussionist and a multi-instrumentalist, a guy who played fiddle, dobro, mandolin, one of those kind of people. And the other thing about putting this, well, not the other thing, but another thing, because I'll probably have many more, about getting ready for this show is I realized how many songs I have that were written about the same person. And I thought, you know, it's been so many years. I'm gonna get in touch with him and tell him. And so I Googled him, and of course, what comes up? His obituary. He died. So I'm going to send this out to anyone who has meant anything to you in your life, and you're thinking about them, and you haven't got in touch with them. Get in touch with them, because if you wait too long, same thing could happen. This is called Faded Red Car, and it was written about his car. And his car's nickname was Ticket. Your faded red car has many a nickname. Your faded red car is falling apart. Your faded red car has one thing you count on, knowing the damn thing won't start. not pass inspection in your faded red car. You barely get home. Your faded red car gets looks from the valet. It's worse than the one that he owns. Your faded red car has no brake lights or signals. Your faded red car needs more than repairs. Your faded red car, well, you'll never fix it. Oh no, you won't. Along with your other affairs. Now there's faded red cars all over this city. And I never noticed how many there are. And just when I think I can almost forget you, well, there goes a faded red car. Thank you so much. Okay, so the next album I made has my favorite title. It's called Bad Girl Once, Soccer Mom Now. Now I've got two kids. Oops, let this back up. And I am mining them like crazy for song material. Neither one is listening tonight, so I know I can say anything I want. And this has a great story. I have a trio based in the United States called the Refugees. Hopefully they're watching tonight. With Sydney Bullens and Wendy Waldman. We've made a couple records too, but I'm not doing those songs because you have to have the harmonies with them. But we've made some great records too. Anyways, so Wendy Waldman, did I just mention her name, or I just said Sydney Bullens? I did. Okay. You know, I'm repeating myself. I'm older. Blah blah blah. You can all relate to that. I know, except for maybe Antonia. She's too young. But don't worry, it's coming. I promise you, it's coming. So when did I make this record? This record came out in 2006. So somewhere in the early mid 2000s. Time is very fluid, I've noticed now. Somewhere back then, I was leading a songwriting workshop in Fresno, California, in the middle of the summer, which Fresno is probably in the middle of the summer, maybe 40 degrees Celsius, that is. See, I know my Celsius and my Fahrenheit. Very hot, and had Wendy come up to be a guest lecturer, and she gave the there weren't really kids, there were 20s, 30s. She gave them an assignment. They had to write a song in a genre that they hated. So they said, okay, well, if we're going to do that, and to Wendy, they said, now you have to write a rap song, because she had said she doesn't like rap music. And so she said to me, well, what are you going to write, Deborah? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't really like Brazilian music. Which she was aghast at that. Like, how could you not like Brazilian music? I said, because I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what the lyrics are. So that night I went home and I wrote my Brazilian song, and this is called My Firstborn. I'm going to send this out to Sydney and Wendy if they're watching, because we do a very fun version of this song as well. Although we never recorded it. We need to record it. My firstborn, we lock horns from time to time. Maybe it's because we're the same Leo sign. Well, there's no mistaking you're half mine. By the way, you have to take out the garbage. My preteen, I'm the meanest mom alive. You can have the last laugh, you'll turn 25. Announce that you're moving to Shanghai, but you can't watch a second episode of The Simpsons. I know you're sick of do this, don't do that. Honestly, I can't blame you. Well, if you'll grow up to be a Democrat, I'll give you an extra hour of computer game time. Gweed-up-boo. Ba-da-dee-da-gweed-ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba-ya. I know you're sick of do this, don't do that. Honestly, I can't blame you. But if you'll grow up to be a Democrat, I'll give you an extra hour of computer. Hey, I'll even buy you a brand new computer game console. My firstborn, I adore the kid you are. And if you ever doubt it, just play this song. There are times when you're right and I'm dead wrong, but I'll only admit it in Antonio Carlos' Joby influenced music. My firstborn, my firstborn. My firstborn. Tall and thin and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking. Thank you. He's 27 now. And he kind of grew up to be a Democrat. He's even to the left of being a Democrat. But that's okay. So the next, I've got a couple more songs left for this set. This, so in 2010, as I said, I moved to Vancouver, and I knew that it rained a lot in Seattle, but I don't know, somehow I thought that once you crossed the border, it was okay. I just had no idea what I was getting into. Weather. I have written so many songs about the weather since I moved here, because I lived in LA for 33 years, so there is no weather there. But that's okay. You know, and most of the songs that I write, it's not like the subject matter is so completely original, but I think this next song is. I don't know if there are any other songs about seasonal affective disorder. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe there is, but I haven't heard a whole bunch of them. This is called A Bad Case of Sad, and it's from my album called Vancouver. I forgot to say, these are all the songs from Vancouver I wrote when I first moved up here. And I think at least 3 or 4 talk about the weather. There are plenty of concrete reasons to blame this on, and a little bit of free-floating nebulous stuff that's never gone. It's been going on 6 months of gray, cold, and rain. For a California girl, that's too much for her sunny side up brain. I went to the doctor and for $100, he said there's nothing you can do, you're just out of luck. You got a bad, 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 bad case of sad. You got a bad case of sad. A really, really bad case. The sun was shining for a couple of hours today. I sat on the front porch stoop in a downcoat, shivering away, determined to get some vitamin D and a serotonin fix, though that's no guarantee. The weather and my mood have been as thick as thieves. I need every bare branch to be covered in leaves. I got a bad, 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 bad case of sad. I got a bad case of sad. The worst case I've ever had. Even when it's beautiful outside, I don't have the best disposition. I constantly must conquer and divide a melancholy condition. Oh, maybe it's just another excuse. I can hide in my head and be a social recluse. If I could be a little stronger in the blink of an eye, the days will be longer and I can say bye-bye to a bad, 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 bad case of sad. To a bad case of sad. A bad case of sad. I got a bad case of sad. A bad case of sad. A bad case of sad. I got a bad case of sad. It makes me laugh. It's, yeah, the weather hasn't been so great lately, has it? You're so quiet. Very quiet audience. Okay, the last complete record that I made was an EP. It's called Fine, comma, Thank You, exclamation point. And it's my first record that I recorded completely here. I did it on Bowen Island with the producer Winston Housechild. Some of the tracks were flown in from other places. Stuart Copeland played drums on some of the songs. And Richard Goldman, the person I mentioned earlier, who got me onto Gadfly Records, also co-wrote this song with me. And the record was released March of 2020, which coincided with COVID, the lockdown. So I have impeccable timing with my career, I just have to say. I always do things at the wrong time. The night that I was on David Letterman was the night the Berlin Wall came down. And so everyone had set their VCRs for 11:30, and we weren't on till like 4 in the morning. And then the night Animalogic was on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson was the night Magic Johnson announced he had AIDS. And so again, we were preempted and didn't go on till a lot later. So in keeping with my perfect timing, I release a record just as lockdown starts. Will I ever be loved again? Will I ever be loved again? When the lights go down with someone new, can I do the things I used to do and wish the night would never have to end? Will I ever be loved? Again. Will I ever be kissed again? Will I ever be someone's new best friend? With a language that we'll call our own, a knowing look to get us home. I could wait if only I knew when I will ever be loved. Again. And how do I get closer? Nobody sees me. I forget the meaning of words you should say. Will I run for cover when somebody needs me? Nothing that I do is working today. I've tried every way. Be loved again? Will I ever hold someone like I held you then? No, it won't be like it was before, but there's a need I can't ignore, and if I'll get the chance, it just depends if I'll ever be loved. Be loved again. I wanna be loved again. I wanna be loved again. Loved again. Thank you. Because I can't leave you with such a sad song, I got one more song to do. It's in a completely different tuning. And I had another guitar all set, but that guitar decided to give me problems. So this last song I'm going to do for this set, I released as a single, which kind of means nothing to release a single, but I mean, it can be bought. And I'm going to send this out to my dear friend Sherry Lynn, because she got this song right away. She understood what it was for. Ugh, darn. It's got to be in tune, sorry. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Is that okay, Michael? Sound good enough? Huh? You sure? High E. Better? Huh? Fix anything else? Come on. Huh? If it doesn't, I know who to blame. This is called You Need a Song. It's fine. That would help. I had it muted. How could you even tell if it was? No one would have known if it was out of tune. Okay. Thank you, Peter. Every day you wake up, the news is bad, and there's 1,000 things you gotta tend to. Imagining is all you've ever had, and someone's always there depending on you, searching for some peace of mind. Lately that's so hard to find. If there's a way you'd leave it all behind. You need a song with a chorus. You need a song you can sing along to. You need a song when you hear it, it makes you feel lucky to be alive. You need a song with a chorus, with a message that's written for you. And in that moment, you're happy, the sound of your voice ringing through. Don't give up your dreams, is what they say. Well, that's an easy thing if you've already made it. 'Cause when the piper calls, he must be, yes, he must be paid. And there's no magic wand and no one to wave it. Holding on with all your might, lucky to be alive. You need a song with a chorus, with a message that's written for you. And in that moment, you're happy. Ooh, the sound of your voice ringing through. Thank you so much. Gonna take a little break. There's CDs for sale in the back. Marilyn, raise your hand. She's selling CDs. There's 3 Marilyns in the room tonight, maybe more. I'm happy to sign them if you want. Go do what you have to do in the next. I'll be back in 15 minutes, something like that. And you at home, you can go get something to eat or go put your pajamas on, go floss your teeth, whatever you want.
Sur un croissant au beurre. soir, en regardant les étoiles, j'ai vu dans le ciel quelque chose qui brille, brille, brille. Ah, la belle étoile, quelques étoiles filantes. Étoile, la bonne étoile, autour de toutes ces figures visibles à l'œil nu sur vous. Il fallait ouvrir les yeux sur ce point lumineux. J'étais des années-lumière de penser qu'un jour je pourrais y croire. SideDoor, SideDoor, qui m'entend. Ah, quelle étoile, quelques étoiles filantes. Toi, belle étoile, autour de toutes ces figures. Toi, belle étoile, toi, belle étoile, toi, belle étoile.
it's okay? Okay. So are we back, Mom? Are we back? We are back. Okay. I just told a few people I'm so happy to sit behind the piano and not have to tune anything. Okay, so welcome back to my streamers, and my wonderful audience. And going back to, remember I said maybe you remember or maybe you don't. Going to start over again with the first Animalogic album. And this was the song Spy in the House of Love and this song that I'm going to do right now were the two songs that Stuart and Stanley heard that got them interested in having me join the band. And this is another song about that same person I told you whose obituary came up. Christ. Anyway, this is, it's called Firing Up the Sunset Gun. And there's an author named Walker Percy. He's a Southern writer. Well, he's not alive anymore. And he wrote a book called Love in the Ruins. And I use book titles. Actually, Spy in the House of Love is also a book title, in case anyone is wondering. It was a book written by Anais Nin. It's a terrible book, but it's a fantastic title. So Firing Up the Sunset Gun was a term that Walker Percy used in the book to describe drinking, alcoholism. So that's what firing up the sunset gun means. Okay. You show the signs of life, but it's sorrow that you find comfort in. You've got the signs of life, but tomorrow you'll just go deeper in. Your father's ghost looks over you and tells you just what not to do. But I know where you're going when the day is done. Firing up the sunset gun, you'll be firing up the sunset gun. Firing up the sunset gun. Everything fades from view, and for a while you can be safe from it. But it catches up with you, and your denial won't get you out of it, no. The words inside you can't come out. You analyze what it's about, but I know where to find you when the night's begun. Firing up the sunset gun, you'll be firing up the sunset gun. Firing up the sunset gun. You lie in your bed. You can't remain, can't run. Empty bottles instead. Until the war can be won. Your father's ghost looks over you and tells you just what not to do. Would I know where you're going when the day is done? Firing up the sunset gun. You'll be firing up the sunset gun. Firing up the sunset gun. Yeah, firing up the sunset. Yeah, you'll be firing up the sunset gun. Firing up the sunset gun. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me? No? Oh, blah, 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 blah. You can ask Connie. Connie has an ex-boyfriend with the same name, so she'll tell you. Okay, so Animal Logic 2. Again, trying to figure out a way to play these songs that were so super arranged and have so many overdubs and vocal parts. This is called I Won't Be Sleeping Anymore. And it's a song that I wrote. Occasionally I write a song and I'm not quite sure even myself what it's about. But in retrospect, so how many years later, a lot. Whatever, somebody can do the math. If this was from 1990. Well, that's easy then, right? So that's, thank you. I think when I got in Animal Logic, I was about as green as the greenest grass imaginable, and it had no entryway or knowledge of how the music business worked, and I got pushed around a little bit, a teeny bit, and I think this song was kind of talking about finally coming out of that. I had to lower the key. Also, during I had a different voice 30-something years ago. I wrote all these songs that are 2.5 octaves. It's like, what? What was I doing? That's insane. I was feeling pretty good till you knocked me on my feet. I tried to dodge the blows, tried to turn the other cheek, but you were much too quick for me. You were so much quicker than me, and you had such determination. Well, I could travel on, but I have to make a fuss. I've been shutting out the lights too long, been dreaming way too much, and I'd like to face the facts, but they're changing every minute, and I'm sick of information. Well, I know the whole world is not out to get me, but I won't be sleeping anymore. I might look terrible, but you have to let me, 'cause I won't be sleeping anymore. No, I won't be sleeping anymore. My body's getting strong, my heart is still a little weak. If what you say is true, then you've been lying through your teeth. I'm not the simple kid I was, I'm not the easy mark, and there's so many complications. Well, I know the whole world is not out to get me, but I won't be sleeping anymore. were times when I thought I was doing my best. I made a mistake, I was never awake. Yes, and I walked through the valley of the shadow of death. I wanna come back, I'm not ready for that. I know the whole world is not out to get me, but I won't be sleeping anymore. I might look terrible, but that won't upset me, 'cause I won't be sleeping anymore. I won't be sleeping anymore. I won't be sleeping anymore. No, I won't be sleeping anymore. Thank you. So that's the first time I've ever played that song. Okay, so Freudian Slip, my first solo album. This is a song called Dog and Pony Show. And I went and looked up the definition of, well, there's a couple definitions, but how it worked with what I was using it for. So, an elaborate presentation to drum up attention. So I use it as someone who deep down inside knows they're putting on an act, or sometimes they put on an act for so long and so well that they don't even know they're doing it. You're hanging on for dear life. You're clinging to any word of advice, but every minute slips through your hand like a lonely grain of sand. You're bringing out the big guns. A second chance only comes once, but every time you walk through that door, it hurts a little more. So welcome to the Dog and Pony Show. You leave everybody laughing, and no one wants to know. It's nothing but a dog and pony show. When lights come up, they say it's time to go, and you're left with just a dog and pony show. You're caught in a downpour. Well, heaven knows you've been there before. What's hardest for others to do comes naturally to you. So welcome to the Dog and Pony Show. You leave everybody laughing, and no one wants to know. It's nothing but a dog and pony show. When lights come up, they say it's time to go, and you're left with just a dog and pony show. There's a line around the corner. You'll never win. They can't wait to get in. There's a girl and you should warn her. just wants it to begin. So welcome to my dog and pony show. Nobody wants to know about the dog and pony show. When lights come up, they say it's time to go. Tomorrow they'll be back to say hello and watch your famous dog and pony show. Thank you so much. Back to the Panagazan songs from the Great Depression. This is the only song that was popular during the Depression that really spoke about what was happening. All the other ones were kind of, blue skies, cheer up, everything's going to be okay. So this is a song that's been covered by a million people, including Michael Friedman, my friend who's here tonight. You know what, Michael, why is it sometimes called Brother, Can You Spare a Dime, and sometimes Buddy? I couldn't find the answer to that.
I think it's actually Brother, Can You Spare a Dime?
Yeah, I know, but everybody sings...
Every once in a while, somebody threw in, hey, Buddy, can you spare a dime?
Okay. Huh. All right, well, I know it's called Brother, Can You Spare a Dime, but all the versions that I've grown up with were Buddy, Can You Spare a Dime? Anyway, it's Buddy tonight. It ain't Brother. Okay. They used to tell me I was building a dream, and so I followed the mob. Where there was earth to plow or guns to bear, I was always there, right there on the job. They used to tell me I was building a dream with peace and glory ahead. So why should I be standing in line, just waiting for bread? Once I built a railroad, made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done. Buddy, can you spare a dime? Once I built a tower to the sun, built of brick and mortar and lime. Once I built a tower, now it's done. Buddy, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, gee, we look swell, full of that Yankee doodly-dum. 500,000 boots went slogging through hell, and I was the kid with the drum. Oh, say, don't you remember, they called me Al. It was Al all the time. Say, don't you remember, I'm your pal. spare a dime? Can you spare? Can you spare? Can you spare a dime? One dime. Thank you. That's a hell of a song, isn't it? Yeah. You know, it's so weird. The Yip Harburg, the lyricist, he also wrote the lyrics to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And there couldn't be two more opposite. Great lyricist. Okay, so back to Book of Survival, and it's 1998, I think, and the Columbine shootings happened, the very first horrific school shooting. And at the same time, Bush Sr. was president, and we invaded, them down there, I'm not we anymore. There was one of the many Iraq invasions. And also at the same time, just to put things into context, there was a song on the radio that was a huge hit called Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? I don't know if anybody remembers that song. Doesn't matter. And, you know, I'd like to say this was a once, this will never happen again. I wrote this song, but it's like every 4 or 5 months there's another school shooting. It's unbelievable. This is called Kids with Guns. Don't worry, I'll have a happier song after this one. It's getting so it's hard to tell the good guys from the bad. So how do you know which side you should be on? In 1939 you knew the devil was all you had. And it's never been that easy since he's gone. There's nothing I can say or do that's not been said or done. So how do I know which way I should proceed? Paul Cole posed this question in a more commercial song. But John Wayne's not the hero I would need. Kids with guns shooting down kids. No explanation for what they did. Bombs went down while singing this song. Nation against nation, yeah, they all seem wrong. My father used to say we're on a ship that's going down. And it wasn't the Titanic that he meant. He also said you keep on bailing so you never drown. You've got to keep an optimistic bend. Kids with guns shooting down kids. No explanation for what they did. Bombs went down while singing this song. Nation against nation, yeah, they all seem wrong. I promise I will make the effort. As you are my witness, I do pledge. I will get my bucket and I'll try to keep the waters down far below the ledge. Yeah, yeah. Kids with guns, they're shooting down. No explanation. Nation against nation, yeah, they all seem wrong. It's getting so it's hard to tell the good guys from the bad. Thank you. Okay. I promised you something lighter, so here it is. Okay. When I was a kid, I thought the theory of relativity was how your second cousin was related to you. I was fascinated. Okay, so if cousin Danny's daughter, Andrea, so she's my second cousin? How? I was always really fascinated by that. So this is a song from Vancouver, the record Vancouver, and it's called The Theory of Relativity, or It's All Relative. And keeping it with relatives, my brother, Eric, who he and my sister-in-law, Lisa, if they're up, they're early birds and they're on East Coast time, but maybe they're still watching. My brother played piano on this song, and he's a much, much better piano player than I am, but I will do my best. One of these days, I'll have to get him to come out here and play. Oh, I need to ask you a very important question. Okay, when I wrote this song, Bill Gates was the richest man, but he's not anymore, is he? Is it Elon Musk now? Is Elon Musk the richest guy alive, or is it Jeff Bezos?
But he got divorced.
Well, who should I pick tonight? Who's the richest guy today? You are? No, I don't think so. Matter of fact, I know so. The Sultan of Brunei. Oh, God. I'm going to say Elon.
World's richest.
Okay, the Sultan of Brunei. Okay, fine. Sultan of Brunei. You sure about that?
No.
Oh, okay. I can't sing it if you're not sure. Okay, it's going to be Elon Musk. We're going to say he's the richest guy. Because I know he's richer than Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates is poor compared to... Okay. I'm a poor girl by Elon Musk standards. I'm a rich bitch through a homeless person's eyes. Is it all smoke and mirrors? Is the truth disguised? It's all relative. Relative. I am no one in comparison to Adele. I am world renowned and famous, standing next to maybe any of you. But by the time your fingers snap, things could change like that. It's all relative. Relative. Your mother's famous cousin is your cousin once removed. Your father's sister's daughter's son, well, he's your cousin too. Oh, it's all relative. Relative. There are people, and they might have talent, can grease the getting in. While the rest of us jerks have to slave and work, we need relatives. Relatives. Well, Einstein had a theory. Well, I've got my theory too. Your great Aunt Peggy died last year and left practically nothing to you. She left practically nothing. Oh, it's all relative. Relative. I ain't got no relatives to help me. I'm all out here by my own. Any of you got relatives that can pull some strings? No? Needy, I'm gonna. So on Vancouver, when I first got here, I didn't have a keyboard, I didn't have a piano. So there are no songs on the record Vancouver that were written on piano. So I have a little surprise. Some of you will like it and some of you may not, but I wrote a song on accordion. Move the camera, right? I've been trying to, I know Lana, my next door neighbor, can hear everything through the walls. I tried to play this so quietly when I was practicing. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, this thing can be so loud. So I envisioned this song as a beer drinking song, and it's not for my voice. It's for like Shane McGowan of the Pogues or Tom Waits. I have the wrong voice for this song, but I'm going to sing it anyway. It's called Lucky So-and-So, and I wrote it for my mother. And I'm going to go with something that I heard the late, great John Prine say, which is that all advice songs are really, they're advice for yourself. So even though I say I wrote it for my mother, it's for myself too. Okay. You're a lucky so-and-so. Yeah, you've got it made, but don't know it. You seem to expect something you'll never get, and day after day you blow it. Yeah, yeah. You've got shelter, food, and love, but you're under a dark cloud whining. With all of your stuff, it's never enough. You're blind to the silver lining. Yeah, yeah. Here's where you wave your beer glass. You're a lucky so-and-so, but your negative side is driven. Start singing a song and forget what is wrong. Kick up your heels, stop spinning your wheels. Raise up your glass, you pain in the ass, and say thanks to all you've been given. 'Cause oh, what a good life you're living. Yeah. Too bad I don't have more songs on accordion. Had I known you like it. Don't worry, my mother never heard that song.
I need to play it for mine.
Yeah.
I think that should be the Edgewater theme.
So I'm back to just two songs left. This is from Fine Thank You, my last record, which I'm desperately trying to hawk because I printed up so many copies of it. And of course, as I told you, I released it during COVID, so didn't need that many copies. Matter of fact, I might have to just start using them as Frisbees or something. This is called Hard to Understand. And the first two lines of the song, I'll tell you what they are. It's Hitler was a baby once, Charlie Manson too. And I had those two lines written down. I don't have a notebook anymore. I used to. Now I just do it on my phone, of course, like everybody else. But I often write down ideas for songs or song titles, and I think I had those two lines for probably 15 years before I figured out what the song was going to be. I'm just going to grab some water. Before I figured out what the song was going to be about. I just like the idea of thinking about how all these monsters started off as cute little babies. Although it's hard to picture Hitler as a cute little, as a cute little baby. He must have been, he probably came out with that mustache and he couldn't have been cute, I don't think. Hitler was a baby once, Charlie Manson too, wrapped up in their blankets. They did what babies do. Idi Amin learned to crawl. Joseph Stalin cried. Milestones in their baby days were the same as you and I. A baby grows into a boy into a man. What makes a man become a beast is hard to understand. Ariel Castro skinned his knees and learned the bass guitar. No one thought the Cleveland kids' behavior was bizarre. Jeffrey Dahmer went to school, remarked to be reserved. What he would do in later years could not be observed. A baby grows into a boy into a man. What makes a man become a beast is hard to understand. They say to recognize the good, evil has existed. When darkness overtakes the mind, it ends up getting twisted. as Ted Bundy lived his life doing normal things and studying in France, Pol Pot had idealistic dreams. A baby grows into a boy into a man. What makes a man become a beast is hard to understand. Yeah, it's hard to understand. Yes, it's so damn hard to understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. For a long time while we were recording that, we were calling it Hitler Was a Baby. And I was like, oh God, that's such a terrible title. I have to get that out of my head. No, it's not called Hitler Was a Baby. I'm going to close this set with I think it's the newest song that I've written, so it hasn't been recorded yet. And I have a bunch of people I got to thank. First of all, High Beam Dreams. Is this place amazing or what? Vineet and Needy, stand up so everybody knows who you are. These two wonderful people. They created this most amazing space with, it's just absolutely fabulous. And I'm going to, where's my sound man? Where's Peter? You got to stand up. Peter Leitz, he's fantastic. Every performer knows it's all about the sound man. If you don't have a good sound man, forget it. The show's not going to go well. So thank you, Peter. You're so great. And the people from SideDoor. So SideDoor was started by Dan Mangan, an amazing songwriter, singer-songwriter who I've reviewed a few times. And I had emailed him. We have our mutual friend is my tax person, who used to play in a band with Dan years ago. Anyway, Dan said, I said, I'm doing it at a venue, but could I still stream it? And he said, absolutely. And then it took, I don't even know how long to figure out. We had a trial run through here. They are the most patient, unbelievable people to get you started with this. Matt, I don't know Matt's last name, and I don't know Sean's last name, who's our host tonight. Matt, I think, he was from Halifax. Sean's in my favorite Canadian city, St. John's, Newfoundland. If you've never been there, you have to go. It's the quirkiest, most wonderful place. And so I got to thank SideDoor. And if she's watching or if she's going to watch, Sherry Ulrich is my goddess, my angel above, who walked me through and calmed me down and talked me through every single little bit of the technology and the gear that I would need, and she's so giving. And it's also, she sang all the background vocals on Fine Thank You. Whenever I sing a song from that record, I hear her vocals. Marilyn Kolbeck for selling CDs for me, although I don't know if I sold any tonight, but that's okay. And everyone who came tonight, but especially I'm going to cry, my new family at Edgewater. My Strata, who knew my Strata was going to be such a wonderful community of people? It's unbelievable. Strata, for you U.S. people, is a homeowners association. Up here they call it Strata. All of you, thank you for coming, and the few people I didn't know from my Strata who came tonight, thank you too. And, all the musicians and the co-writers and the producers and people who have helped me over the years and brought all these songs to recorded life. I mean, there's too many people to even to name. I can't name them all. There's too many. but to all of them, thank you for a wonderful night. And this last song that I'm going to go out with could not have been written sooner than this year, because it's called 50-Year Reunions. It's my 50-year coming up, 50-year high school reunion, which just seems way too weird. Way too weird. I remember being a kid and like even hearing about people's 20-year reunions, thinking, oh God, they must be so old, you know? 50-year reunions, retirement plans, more visits to the doctor, more music I can't understand. Like a deer in headlights, words fall through the cracks. Memories are missing, they won't be coming back. I was a dreamer, believed all that I said. Now less of my life is lying ahead. How did this happen? How did I get here? Time doesn't fly, it just disappears. Who's that in the mirror? Someone I don't recognize. Inside I still feel 30, but savvy and wise. The miracle of science, replaceable knees. Simple things are pleasures, a cool summer breeze. I was a dreamer, believed all that I said. Now less of my life is lying ahead. How did this happen? How did I get here? Time doesn't fly, it just disappears. When you are younger, it feels like your life is forever. You waste so much time, such very precious time, you don't know better. And now every night it gets a little earlier when I start to yawn. Just don't let me be the neighbor who yells, get off my lawn. Well, I'm not feeling sorry, I'm glad I'm alive. Each morning that I wake up, another night I've survived. 60-year reunions, maybe 65 too. Well, will I be around then? More importantly, will you? I was a dreamer, believed all that I said. Now less of my life is lying ahead. How did this happen? How did it just disappears. Time doesn't fly, it just disappears. Thank you all so much. Sad song then, sorry. Has to be enough with the sad. So a couple of my neighbors have already heard me. Am I on mute still? Tell me when you got it, Peter. Yeah, I'll just come out here and do it. And maybe you want to turn the camera? Yay. Okay. You can hear me, right? Yes. A bunch of my neighbors have heard me bemoan the Christmas season. I'm Jewish, not religious, secular Jew, but I did not grow up with Christmas. And I grew up in a city that hardly had any Jews, so everybody had Christmas. And when I was a kid, I was so desperate for a Christmas tree that I made one out of cardboard. Is that the saddest thing you've ever heard? So this is why Hanukkah is Cinderella, but without the prince ever